Hello, welcome everyone to Igniting Hope, virtual celebration with the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival. My name is Jessica Walsh. I'm a 7th grade ELA teacher in Illinois, and I'm a tech team co-leader for today's gathering. We encourage you to view this session directly from its YouTube page so that you can live chat along with our presenters and viewers. Find the YouTube link on our channel at the EdCollab or at thegathering.theedcolab.com. If you don't see the chat, please refresh your browser. We are not in person together, so your chats do mean a lot to the presenters. Please actively post responses, questions, and comments. You can also respond to other viewers' comments too. We're a community of educators here today, so please share and connect. The gathering is an inclusive and affirming environment. We will be actively monitoring the chat, and any spam or harmful comments or accounts will be blocked. You can help by reporting accounts to YouTube. The gathering has always been free to attend. If you feel inspired by this session, and I know that you will be, we ask that you visit our charity page and pay the joy forward. Today, we are so pleased to welcome our speakers for this session.
Let me unmute. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to you. We're happy to be here with you on this Saturday. Thank you for taking time out of your day. We know the days are long and busy, and we're just so grateful to be here with you. I'm Tracey Flores, and I'm a member of the EdCollab, as well as an associate professor at UT Austin in the College of Education. And I'm also a member of the Educator Advisory Council for the Latinx and Kidlit Book Festival, an organization that is very near and dear to my heart. I'll turn it over to my amigo over here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Garcia Peña. I am the executive director of the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival. In addition, I'm also a writer of young adult books and future picture books, which will hopefully be out on the shelves sometime next year. Before we kick it off into our wonderful presentation and share all of the resources that we have for you, I wanted to show off our little festival trailer that we worked really hard on. And if you ever worked hard on a fun creative project, you want to show it off. So if we could bring it up on the screen and share it with everyone.
Bienvenidos, welcome. I am Dana Barbe Higuera, winner of the Newbery Medal and Pura Belpré Award for my middle grade novel, The Last Cuentista. I am here to invite you to the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival, the only book festival of its kind.
It's a weapon of mass instruction.
It is a free virtual event for schools, classrooms, libraries, and all book lovers, streaming during Hispanic and Latinx Heritage Month.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad that you are here with your classes.
It's a celebration of Latinx authors and illustrators and their unique stories, a gift for readers everywhere.
Stories really have power. Words have power.
Join us live from your classroom, library, or home. Enjoy creative language arts and visual arts, content for students of all ages. Meet your favorite Latinx creators of picture books, middle grade and young adult novels, poetry, comic books, and graphic novels.
On the tropical Caribbean island of Puerto Rico, there was an ancient banyan tree.
Join our draw-offs and have students follow along with their own drawings.
It's a prompt idea from Claire in 5th grade. Please draw a dancing pig.
Dancing pig.
Our craft sessions will inspire and get students writing.
The things I'm struggling with that can feel really heavy sometimes, I get through them by writing.
Our conversations will energize students and readers with thought-provoking ideas.
I think my family, to cope with that sort of sadness, did a lot of storytelling.
One, you're finding the beautiful in the midst of the tragic, and it's a way of surviving. It's a way of surviving oppression. It's a way of surviving what breaks your heart.
Our authors and illustrators want to hear from you. Send in your students' questions and your school could win a classroom set of books.
My question for Elizabeth Acevedo is, do you want each book to stand out on its own, or are you trying to build a body of work with connections between each book?
Okay, but can we talk about, these are some of the best questions.
If you are an educator or librarian, please visit our website for curated educator resources and find ways to make the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival a part of your classroom experience.
If you're honest, you gain the trust of a potential student who is struggling to tell this story to themselves.
Your stories are of this place, and we have to take up space in this place with our stories.
We hope you and your students will join our book fiesta.
That was beautiful. It was. The music had me doing this.
That was a beautiful introduction. And hearing all those voices, that mosaic of stories, it encapsulates the heart of this work of hope, of the space that was created during the pandemic. And I just so grateful to be here with you. And I got a little emotional seeing the kids and hearing the stories and the snapshots, because that is the community, the importance of community too, and our stories and our history. So thank you for gifting us with that to start our talk today.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us. And make sure to say hello in the chat. We want to know where you're joining from. I'm going to kick us off here because I think the first one is just a reminder. So we are across three Festival Fridays during Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month. The first one was yesterday. We had a full day of events that you can still catch up and watch on. All of our events are as much as possible live, like we are right now. But should you miss any event, they are kept in perpetuity on our YouTube page. So any of the events that happened yesterday, which we'll show you some of them as we go along, are up to watch at any time, as well as any previous festival. So the next full day would be next Friday, and after that would be the last Friday in October. There's a little slide about ourselves. Hello.
Hello. We're introduced ourselves at the beginning and just wanted to welcome you again to this conversation. And we hope that you walk away with many resources for your classroom and your community.
I'm going to talk briefly. I'm going to kick it over to Tracey about our Storytellers Conference.
I have to make sure that we shout this out. The Latinx and Kidlit Book Festival organization organized the first in-person conference in Soho, New York City, just last weekend. And I had the privilege of attending, and it was such a beautiful space of storytelling, of connections, of community, of family. And we talked about the importance of sharing our stories, and also an infinite bookshelf of Latinx stories and storytellers and picture book creators. And this was a space where we came together, and it was about community, connections, craft. We had professional development, craft workshops, as well as access to networking and access to the community of editors and publishers to help demystify that process, because we have these ideas for our books, and there's such a long process to getting it on the shelves, and hearing from editors what they're looking for, kind of like what it takes to get the books published, and those sort of insider tips was very, very helpful. And everyone there was so giving. It wasn't like any type of competition or anything. It was really like we're all writers and storytellers together, and all of our books and ideas deserve to be in the kids' hands. They need to be in kids' hands. And it was opening keynotes. I heard from Mariano Hosa. It was mind-blowing, and I'm still just taking in all those conversations, all the people, that energy, and it's, helping me through this school year and the work that I'm doing. So if you get a chance to go to the next one, I highly encourage you to attend this really intentional space that is built with and for us.
Thank you, Tracey.
I could go on and on. Like, it was beautiful. I could talk about it all the time.
Just a shout out, this year the festival was awarded one of the Library of Congress Literacy Award Emergent Strategies honoree. So this award, we're incredibly proud. This is the fifth year of the festival, and we'll be able to continue to support our efforts to bring programming and support our authors and illustrators and continue to innovate like the Storytellers Conference. So a big thank you to the Library of Congress for honoring the festival.
So amazing.
So what is the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival? You watched a fantastic little trailer, and Tracey spoke about how we've expanded to regard the publishing side of the coin as well. But the festival started in 2020 during the lockdown, where three authors, Ismay Williams, Alex Villasante, and Mayra Cueva, suddenly they were debuting and suddenly saw all of their opportunities to reach schools, to reach readers, disappear. And virtual became the biggest form of communication. So the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival was born from a need to support our writing community, support our authors that were coming out with their middle grades, their picture books, their young adults, and had no one to speak to. And then at the same time, support those kids who were at home and disconnected, and those educators who were trying to adjust to now a completely virtual classroom. So the festival was born out of that. Exactly. Leaned heavily on remote learning. So we created a fully virtual festival that focused on Latinx Kidlit authors and illustrators. So anything from picture books to young adults. Programming was divided by age category. So you'd have programming for the little ones, and then more structured discussions for your middle grade and young adult readers as well. Yeah, and then it's been 5 years. This is the fifth year of the festival, and what started as a we all have to come together as a community to support each other is now in 5 years strong and continues to grow. And the amount of authors and illustrators that we've been able to work with and support throughout the years has been amazing, as well as the quantity of kids that we've reached. Yes. Out to, and educators that we've met, not just virtually, but in conferences like the American Library Association, like NCTE, which we're going to in November. If you're joining NCTE, you can come say hello. Has been amazing. Tracey, do you want to add anything from your perspective as well?
I was going to mention that piece about access and reaching kids. I know as a classroom teacher, I was always trying to bring in authors, storytellers, do guest writing workshops, because I always wanted my students to learn from other writers, and to see how this has grown into that space where it's streaming in classroom, it's writing workshops in classroom, it's bilingual storytelling, it's the draw-offs, and how it's so engaging. It's very engaging, and these moments can really change a young person's life. Connecting with an author, a storyteller that they admire, or hearing their story reflected back to them, or learning about other stories. I just think that access piece is really important. And it's also, we use it in our teacher education program too at UT in some of our courses, inviting our students, our pre-service teachers, to engage with the conference and think about how they would engage this in their future classrooms as well.
So these are just some examples of throughout the years of educators who reached out to us, showing us how they brought the festival either into their school library, you can see it projected on the wall, or into their classrooms, and how they're having their students interact with the virtual content. As I mentioned, the festival is live. So if you are watching it live, like you are now, the students can add comments for the authors and illustrators in the chat box, and we'll bring them up on the screen similar to how the comments are brought up here. So kids can say hello to their favorite authors while they're up on the screen having discussions. Here's some examples of, we work with publishers each year to provide classroom sets of books. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but here are some of the kids receiving books from the authors and illustrators that they're then seeing have those discussions on the screen. And to the right is my favorite, because we're going to talk about our draws, which is with which is with our illustrators. And these are some examples of educators showing us what their kids drew along to watching the events. So it's really fantastic. And you wouldn't think that because it's virtual, there feels like there might be a barrier, but the community is there, and the communication is there. So it's a lot of love.
And you can see the kids being like, look, like there's my comment, there's my quote. Like, that's really cool. Or like the responding to in real time is really powerful, I think. Yeah.
All right. So what can you watch? We keep talking about content and just being a little bit general, but let's break down what is available each year of the festival. So I'm going to start with professional development. So these are programming made specifically for educators or writers. So professionals looking to either unpublished or looking to do writing in general. For example, we've tackled for educators youth activism in Kidlit. That was one last year that we had Carmen Tafoya talk about her book Warrior Girl and how it tackles youth activism through literature. We've done redefining the writing workshop, also for educators, building comprehension and exploring identity in graphic novels, which we had 2 graphic novel illustrators work with their new texts and had an educator walk us through how those texts can be brought into the classrooms. And if you've ever wanted to be a writer, if you have those students who are interested in writing, we do have events that are brought by the Authors Guild and SCBWI, where we talk about the nitty-gritty of publishing and writing. For example, this year, we're going to be talking about authors who want to hop between age categories. You want to write a picture book, you want to write a young adult novel, and what are those questions? And then some of the educator-focused ones, we just did the Bringing History and Justice to Life, where 4 authors talked about their novels and how they used either history that's happening now or happened in the past in their literature. For example, Ruth Behar spoke about Cuba and her family and immigration. Bessie Flores was talking about Honduras, and the actual the events in the books were sort of in the recent past, but they haven't gone away. So Bessie talked about like many of the things that she speaks in her novel are still very much actively happening right now. And then our next conversation for the Ed Night is going to be remixes and retelling. So we have 4 authors that brought classics back to life, but from a lens of Latinx characters. So that's something that can be, again, brought into the classroom and matched with those classics that you're already teaching.
And such generative conversations too, and used across subject area as well. Thinking about history and social studies. Love this.
And then we do also, I will note the little certificate of attendance that is available in our educator page. So any of the events that you attend, any of the festival events you attend that you might want to use for attendance records or any sort of certification that you might need, you're able to download that as well. I'm also going to add our email at the end of the presentation. So if there's anything that you might need to make sure that these hours count for any form of accreditation, we're happy to provide that for you as well. Story time. So we're going to talk about the programming that we have for the littles, or family fun, I should say, because it's all families. So we have our story times that are English and also bilingual. So we have 4 picture book artists and not illustrators. Illustrators is the next one. Writers who are giving us little samples of their picture books. So you get usually about 5 to 6 minutes where they talk about their story. They take you through some pages. You oversee over here, which I think it's Jackie Azul Kramer's Magical Unicorn book, and they'll read some pages to you and talk about the book and the inspiration and all the fun stuff. So you get little snippets of 4 different picture books that you might be able to then continue reading with your students at home.
I love these too for like literacy nights. I really appreciate that they're in English and then in bilingual offerings as well, because it can be difficult to find resources for, when we have literacy nights, and this is perfect for that. Hosting a showing or, bringing in parents for, the day and that sort of thing. I really appreciate this a lot. And in our K-12 classrooms.
And then for these, there are going to be 2 of them. Vamos a leer en historias actually says multi-generationals in English, but those 2 are bilingual. So it's going to be coming back and forth between English and Spanish with our writers. So very exciting.
I love
Tracey.
the draw-offs. The illustrator draw-offs I love everything about the festival, and I really just get so taken into the draw-offs and the conversations that are happening. And I watched this the other day again in preparation for our conversation to just remember that energy. And this one specifically had John Parra, had Nani Bruini, Raul Colon, John Parra, I'm sorry, and then Adriana Hernandez Bergstrom, she was the moderator. And it's really cool because students can ask questions and say, hey, I want you to, like we saw in the preview, draw a flying pig. And this one was about food. And so students were, classrooms were asking for different food. And as they're drawing, like so quick in 5 minutes, they're drawing these, like, I think they're masterpieces. They're drawing these masterpieces. And as they're drawing, they're talking about their stories. They're talking about their craft, and they're talking about, different aspects of illustrating and storytelling. And it's so engaging and so lively. And they do drawings in like 3 to 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So quick. And I'm always like, oh my gosh. And then the students can draw at the same time as they're drawing. And so it's very interactive. They can watch or draw alongside. And you saw that earlier with the teacher who shared the drawings of her students. And I just think that is so powerful to have the illustrators in conversation like this, and thinking also more broadly about writing and how the illustrations are also so important to stories, and can take the stories in different directions too if we're paying attention to the text and reading the illustrations, I should say. So I love these. They're so awesome.
I wish I could illustrate, but
me too.
I have no talent, and I'm not going to show off any. And me following these along on social media would be horrifying. Absolutely. Writing workshops. My gosh.
And so these are also amazing. As a former classroom teacher, and I teach writing methods as well, I'm really excited to see these craft workshops and the ways that students can engage, just like the illustrator draws, can engage in the craft of writing alongside an author as they're guiding them through these different processes. And I think that is so powerful, and it's so engaging. And even though the festival is completely online, it is so engaging, and everyone's coming with this energy as like they're in the classroom right there with the students. And that really also brings that writing process to life and can help students think about spaces where they're stuck or try new things that they maybe didn't try before in their writing, as they're listening to published authors also talk about those places they get stuck as well. So I want to shout out also the writing workshops.
So we have 4 happening this year. 1 happened just yesterday, which is writing scares and suspense, if that's your thing. You can go with Adriana Cuevas and Samantha Mabry, who, and the good thing about these workshops is they follow more or less a similar structure and pacing. They just bring you through different examples and different questions that the kids can do. At the end, all of the writers leave the students with prompts, something to bring out into the classroom as well. For example, you'll see here, Andrea Beatriz Arango and Ari Tyson, their workshop was on novels and verse, and particularly how that breaking up of the text on the page corresponds to their character. So in their workshop, they have examples from their books, and then they talk through, this is how I did this. This is how I did this. And then they'll give you a little prompt of like, hey, let's pause for a moment and do a little exercise together. And then we'll come back to the discussion. So they're a lot of fun. And of course, since they're recorded for perpetuity, you can then pause those videos and have those activities with the kids and then come back to the video as well. games. I love games. So we introduced games last year and we're bringing them back this year. Essentially, they're a fun way to get to know these young adult authors and some middle grade authors without it just being a conversation, just a straightforward conversation. So they are, for example, here you'll see this was the Heartbreaks game, and it was a choose your own adventure type game where the authors and the viewers at home had to walk their main character through a summer romance, right? So depending on the choices that they made, they could end up with a heartbreak at the end of the at the end of the game, or they could, have a lovely summer romance that they saved. And then at the same time, you're learning about Jessica Parra's book. You're learning about Elle's books and Jane's books. So there's a little bit of fun and a little bit of learning. So the Survive This Game Choose Your Own Adventure panel happened on Friday. So that one was, if you like spooky stories, which I do, you can survive a haunted house with 4 amazing Latina YA writers. And then next up we have, which actually will be playing a little bit of the emoji game later on to win a free book. So that's one of the games that we're going to be debuting this year. So a lot of fun and just different ways to engage our audience with our writers. Book discussions. Of course, we did not get rid of any form of our conversations. Those are always needed. So we have 3 spotlights that we're bringing this year. We had the Poetry in Motion with the award-winning authors Ari Tyson, Jasmine Mendez, and Andrea Beatriz Arango, and they were talking about the power of poetry. These are 4 amazing authors who their novels and verse were honored this year at the Pura Bel Prez at the ALA Awards. So they had a conversation of like inspirations and who they are as poets. And then this upcoming Friday with Tracey, we'll bring Tracey back on the screen so we can see the excitement. Tracey's going to have a conversation with Meg Medina and Sonia Manzano. Sonia, if you don't remember, from Sesame Street. And they are going to talk about, just champions of literature and like the importance of story in their lives and the lives of all of us, really. Tracey, do you want to say anything? Are you excited for this one?
I'm super excited, and I hope I don't cry, and because their activism, their advocacy, their writing, all of the things that they do to champion stories and to really advocate for stories and books, and it's amazing. I cannot wait. I'm like, I'm living my best dream right now. And I feel honored and humbled to talk with them.
So you can tune into that one this Friday at 10 a.m. I believe it's the first one of the day. And then for our final day, we have Dr. Carla España with Isabel Quintero, and we're going to do a book discussion / educator guide to Gabby, A Girl in Pieces, which is a critically acclaimed, young adult novel that's celebrating 10 years from being published. Yeah.
Such a great book.
And then we have some other conversations on, for example, grief and also the difficulties of coming of age and growing up. And mental health as well, and some Gods and Monsters, which is a fun conversation on our favorite mythological creatures and how they make their way into these stories. So there's some conversations and book clubs.
Hella complicated. I love that title. Awesome. Sorry, I mean
recenter on book clubs.
Refocus. The Latinx and Kidlit Book Festival, they also offer book clubs in which students can engage in reading a novel, like a novel study or different text sets, or however that they choose to do that. And they can Zoom in or come in and talk in real time to an author and engage in a conversation about the book, about the talk, about writing, about storytelling. And these are really powerful moments for for everyone who's involved, and bringing that literature circle, bringing that story, the read aloud to life, by also engaging with the creator of that story to continue that conversation and ask questions about, the characters, about their process, about all the things around the story. And so they also, I believe there's book guides too, if I'm not mistaken. Am I getting that right?
Yes, those. For example, Mexicid was the book club this year, and I believe we have the educator guide that Penguin created, which was wonderful because Luz actually was the creator of the educator guide, and she ran the book club. So usually there are educator guides that come from the publisher as well for the books.
And we're going to read that book actually at my signature course at UT with my first year students. I cannot wait to also integrate this into the conversation as well.
Okay. And I'm just going to quickly mention, we do have an archive of 5-minute craft videos, which are helpful for any student who's like interested in writing or just wanting to know more about a topic. So for example, how do writers create setting? How do writers use mood? Some of these are available in Spanish as well. So they are just 5 minutes, a quick introduction into a writing topic. So those are also available on our educator page. Okay, so very quickly, because I know we want to make sure we're in time. So we're going to try and give away a book. This is our sample of our emoji game. So I'm going to give you a few seconds, try to guess the title of this book, and write your answers in the chat. Okay.
I'll mute so I don't give it away.
I know, it's like, don't say it accidentally, Tracey. Let's see, I'm gonna pop over the chat, see if anybody can guess the novel. Let's see. You guess the title. I'll give you a few more seconds. It's a novel in verse. I know there's a message. This is tough. Because I promise as soon as you see it, you'll be like, oh, yeah, that's that's what that was. Like the X plays a very big part. That's a big hint. I wish I could do the Jeopardy song, but I can't.
I know, right? Do people know that anymore? I know it.
I think this audience will know it. Oh, we got someone! Yay! Congratulations, Abby Gillis. Hello.
That's exciting.
Oh my gosh. We're going to put a little email at the end of the panel. So email us and we'll get you free. You can pick any book from the authors and illustrators presenting at the festival this year. Or if you would like the Poetics, you can pick that one as well. Thank you. Thank you for playing with us. Join us for the emoji game.
That's exciting. Congratulations.
All right. So I'm going to try and go quickly through these because I know we're running out of time. So do you want to say something quickly about our educator and watch party guides that are free on their website?
These are free on the website and they help you to navigate the conference as well as also give background information about the authors, the illustrators, and what the festival's about and kind of day to day for you. And also to further engage with the authors on this and their books as well.
Beautiful. And we're going to talk about our 2 databases and we can flip over to our example video. I made a little video about how to use our databases. So if you go to our website under databases, you'll notice 2 databases. The first is our Latinx Kidlit book databases. So these are picture books, chapter books, middle grade, young adult anthologies written by Latina authors. And we also have a section for illustrators as well. So here's an example. If we click over to picture books, the first thing you're going to see is our gallery view. So very cover focused. But if you're like me and you prefer Excels, I would scooch over all the way to the bottom to the Excel view because you can see all of the details there. But for this presentation, I'm going to go up again to the gallery view because that's prettier to work with. You can filter through so many things. So for this one, let's do author representation. And if you're looking, for example, for Afro-Latinx author, let's click that and see what we get. So here we have every picture book that is written by a Latinx author who is Afro-Latinx as well. So we have some Eric Velasquez, we have some Jasmine Mendez, we have Lisette Norman. But let's try themes, Tracey. How about we look for, since we're in picture books, let's see what themes that we can sort through. We got animals, of course. We got some archaeology. We got some back to schools. How about some beginning concepts?
Yeah.
Here we go, counting. And I have to scroll back up. For some reason, it goes to the bottom. I don't know. But here is all of the picture books that have the counting beginning concepts. So we got Gato Guapo. We have some Un, Dos, Tres, Andres. We got some La Catrina as well. Let's see. So, but if you're like me, again, I prefer the Excel view because I can see all of the details that we have, from the summary to the publisher, imprint, genre. If you need nonfictions, that was where we would mark that. So we have in-book representation versus author representation. We have themes and, like, for example, civic engagement. You can filter for what's available in Spanish. If we know if there's an educator guide, we'll add it there. And of course, our purchase links, but all of these books are traditionally published, so you should be able to find them in whatever system that you usually purchase books from.
That is
we also have,
That's amazing.
thank you. We also have a second database, which is our school visit database. So this is, for example, if you have the budget to bring in a Latinx author and illustrator, you don't know where to start. We've asked everyone who's participated in the festival if they want to participate in school visits to fill out our form here. So for example, that was Angela's form. And you could see from that form that she wants to do visits to high schools, and we can come out of the presentation and back to the PDF as I continue chatting. So you can filter through, here's the book database, and you can filter through themes, age categories, type of book, contemporary versus nonfiction, etc. And then, of course, it's the school visit database. So these are added by the authors and illustrators themselves. So they've provided this information. So you can tell, for example, if Ernesto wants to do virtual or in-person visits. And if he wants to do in-person visits, where can he travel to, right? We don't schedule any of these visits. So you have contact directly with the author and illustrator. So we are in no way a middleman here. We're not going to slow down the process. If you want to try and reach out to Alexis Castellanos, for example, who is an author illustrator, you can reach out directly to her and you have that information at your fingertips. So those are our two databases, which are free to use on our website. Yeah.
Those are incredible. I love the curated books and the themes and the different ways that you can search. That is really powerful.
And we're always updating those themes and updating as much information as we can. It is volunteer run. So if there's anything that needs to be adjusted, there's forms on each of the pages for anything you might notice is off. Let's see. I think slide. Can I scooch over? Here we go. Okay, so our school visit fund. This fund is every year at the festival, we are expanding the resources that we have. We launched a school visit fund in the fall of 2022 that was bringing authors and illustrators and connecting them with schools that need those visits from those authors and illustrators. So if schools and libraries, you apply to get a free author visit. It's a one hour visit with an author and illustrator. It can be virtual and in person. That depends on the location of the school. And if we have any nearby authors and illustrators that match the age category and availability. They come with a classroom, a sample set of books for that author as well, author illustrator as well. And this has been funded in the last 2 years by our wonderful friends at Penguin Random House, Hachette, SCBWI. The Arizona Humanities is joining us this year as one of our partners for the School Visit Fund. And we're just incredibly happy to bring this back. The applications for the spring semester, for the spring visits, is currently open. So please go and apply. The applications close on December 13th. And over here, you'll see the little link to where to apply. Or if you go to our website, it'll be just on our navigation page. You won't miss it.
So those are in-person and virtual visits, possibly.
Yes. Yeah. So it depends on the location of the school and the location of the author illustrator. I know. And books, we do some book giveaways thanks to our very wonderful publishing partners. And you have two ways to win. Your students can either submit questions for the authors or illustrators to answer in the festival, and we pick random questions, and then those students get to win a classroom set of books. And there's also a simple giveaway form as well that you can enter. We do ask that anybody who wins through that giveaway form also submits questions for the festival so that they can be integrated into the programming. So both of these forms are on our education page, which again on our NAB says Educator Resources. All right. We're going towards the end. Yes. And I just wanted to shout out these awesome handouts that we have, for example, that we created, Reimagine Classics. If you're ever wondering, what can I put against Pride and Prejudice? It might be Most Ardently by Gabe Cole-Novoa, or Pride by Ibi Savoy. Like, what can I match with, for example, Relit Anthology has short stories that you can pick to match with a lot of different classic stories, from 1,000 Leagues Under the Sea to The Little Mermaid. And then you have these Latinx authors reinterpreting those stories, or grabbing the themes of those stories and creating something new. So the anthology came out this year, I believe. So it's relatively new. And then if you ever have some classroom themes that you might need some suggestions for example, if you're looking to curate something for like activism and social justice, it might be like, for your littles, it'll be Coquillas Still Sing, which is about the resilience in Puerto Rico after the hurricane. It might be Ruth Behar's Letters to Cuba. It might be, actually, I think that's Alexandra Diaz's Letters to Cuba. It might be Carmen Tafoya's Warrior Girls. So you have something for each category. And I pulled these themes from our database, right? So you go under themes, you filter, and then you find what can work for you. And then our last handout that we have is Latinx is not a monolith, and just some like sample questions that will start conversations. For example, not all of us speak Spanish. Not all of us are coming from countries that speak Spanish either. There's, Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, there's Haitian Creole, there's the hundreds of different indigenous languages still alive in the Latin American countries. So just a few things to start the dialogue.
We all eat spicy food. I like that.
We don't all eat spicy food. I don't like spicy food. And we also, thanks to the wonderful publishers we work with, at the end of the festival season, to any of our newsletter followers, we have a virtual tote that is packed with educator guides, little videos, samples, and activities that can be printed out. So these are provided from similar if you went to a conference and got like little samples from different publishers. It's like a virtual version of that we send out in our newsletter at the end of the festival season.
Continue the learning. I love that. It's legit cool. I love that.
All right. So that's the spiel. Is there anything that I missed, Tracey, that you think that I didn't cover, or that find some words that you would like to share? And if anybody has any questions, we're happy to answer them. I don't know how much time we have left.
Just the main thing about going back to the title of the presentation, Igniting Hope. This whole presentation, your organization, everything that you shared that has been created and curated, and all of it, the community is such a space of hope. And I want to thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this space with you today. And I'm really looking forward to the next few weeks of the festival and to continuing to learn and to be in community with everyone.
Thank you. We're so excited. Again, the next live day is Friday the 27th. So we hope you will join us. Specifically for Tracey's discussion. Come on now. Sonia and Meg. Hello.
I know. I know.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Mia and Tracey. I know I speak for everybody who is watching as I'm going to jump off of this presentation and email everybody I know with all these amazing resources. I've been a viewer of the festival for years, but I mean, there's just so much more than just, what's on the screen. So thank you and your team so much for all that you have provided for teachers and educators in the way of resources that we just don't have the time to create ourselves. So thank you. We appreciate that gift to the educational community. Speaking of gifts, just a quick reminder that the gathering has always been free to attend. If you feel, and I know you were, inspired and appreciative by this session, we ask that you visit our charity page and pay the joy forward. One of our adapted charities happens to be the Latinx Kidlit Book Festival. So let's keep these amazing resources going for educators and for children around the world. So coming up next, we have our closing session with Christopher Lehman and Amira Abdel-El happening in about 15 minutes. Thank you for joining us today. And we're going to say goodbye and move on to the next session.
Have a great
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Mia, you're the bomb. I love you.